Hello everyone. In today's session, we are going to learn about the techniques of scientific management. Techniques of scientific management. We already came to know what is the scientific management. So, there are four main concepts were given where the theory has been developed. In that first one was science is not rule of thumb. So, science is not rule of thumb means we cannot say that particular work should be done on that one particular way only. So, in the same way, the scientific techniques has been formed, that is we cannot say that this is the perfect way of doing one particular task or this is the perfect way of doing the things. So, and the second one says harmony not discord. Harmony not discord means, so each and every individual is very important, and realizing that both the levels of all the levels of managements are very important under doing the work, and cooperation is not individual. So doing any cooperation, maybe it's not done through the one person, that is maybe from the higher level or maybe from the lower level. So it is the duty of each and every levels of managers and development of each and every personnel. So the training must be provided for all the workers, like maybe they are higher level or maybe they are lower level, so they provide the training for them. So under this, first one is factory manager. So let us this scientific techniques work upon made upon the scientific theory whatever is there. So upon that they have classified this into the scientific techniques. So how they are going to implement the scientific techniques. In that, first one is a factory manager. Under the factory manager, the in charge has been divided into two persons. One is planning and one is production in charge. So what planning in charge does? The work of the planning in charge is, so like they are the specialists. They are the very specialist. Under them, another four specialists will be divided. So under the planning in charge, they are going to do only the planning procedures, not they are not going to implement any work, they are just going to do the planning process. And under the production in charge, the production will be take place, that is they are actually doing the work, not the whatever this the planning in charge has been given, that production work, that production team will be going to implement. Under that, first one, instruction card clerk, route clerk, time and cost clerk, and disciplinarian. These four specialists are classified under the work under the planning in charge. So, what planning in charge does is, so planning in charge is going to appoint in each department, and experts in the planning department helps in the production and these four experts are going to help in the production. Under that first one, instruction card clerk. Instruction card clerk is who prepares the instructions. So he just prepares the instruction for the workers and handed them over to the gang boss. So he will instruction card clerk will going to prepare the instruction and he will be going to handed it to the gang boss, and from there the cards contain the information about the nature of the work. So whatever the instruction card clerk will be give the instruction to gang boss, it will there will be all the information about how the work should be done and what is the procedure of doing the work. So what are the materials to be used, and the details about that will be given in the instruction card clerk. Next come route clerk. Route clerk means he ensures the requisition of the completing the particular work. So he is the one person who is going to see how the work must be done. So what is the way of doing the work, and he will give the path of the work, that is maintain their the stages, what are the stages to be followed, how shall the stages shall have to pass before being, like what are the ways, like if the product need to pass from, what are the steps, like say step 1 to step 2, next step 3. So he will mention all these steps, that is the root clerk. So what is the path of doing one particular work, that will be mentioned by the root clerk. So that path, what should be the what work we should complete within one particular day, that will be mentioned by the root clerk. Next comes time and cost clerk. Time and cost clerk decide when a particular work is to be started and finalize the finalizing date. So he will say on which date and what time the work should be start and on what time the work should be finished. As as a whole work in a place, and it also decides the same time what cost the product will produce. So say that the product will take production for 5 hours and the cost will be 50,000. So this cost will be fixed by the time and cost clerk only. So only upon that, within that particular period of time, the production must take place, and there should not be any extra cost that should be incurred on that particular thing. Next come disciplinarian. Disciplinarian officer ensures that every work is being performed in a disciplined manner. So instruction card clerks give the instruction what is the way, how the work should be done and what is the way of doing the work, and route clerk will decide what is the path of doing the work and after which process what process must become, that will be decided by the route clerk. And when it comes for the time and cost clerk, he will say that what is the time incurred for the production and what is the cost incurred for the production. So the disciplinarian sees that whether the all these three things are going in the same manner or whether there is any variations, that will be seen by the disciplinarian. So this is the in charge of the planning commission. So next comes speed boss. Speed boss. The main function of the speed boss is to ensure that all the works are performing in their jobs and they're in the required respected speed. That means if they say within 1 hour they must produce 10 units. So that is the speed that has been fixed already, that has been fixed, so that the speed boss will see that whether that speed is there or whether there is any variation. If there is a variation, what is the reason for that variation? So speed boss will go through that. And if it is not so, that the speed boss will trace and find out the cause and solve the speed, and hence the solution will be find it out. So as I said, if there is any variation, speed boss will be going to find that. Next come gang boss. The gang boss is workers are divided into various groups from the point of view to control a group, and the leaders is to be selected, who is known as the gang boss. The gang boss is known as the workers is divided into various group from a point of view of control as a group leader. So the group leader who is selected is known as a gang boss. So he is the person who ensures the workers and machines are fit enough for the work that they have to make. So that means if there are 10 machines that is going to work, so he must consider that machineries are fit and they are fine and there is enough number of personnel who can do the work. So then comes the repair boss. Repair boss means the main function of repair boss is to keep the machines and take in working condition. So as the word itself says, repair means he must ensure that, so whatever the machineries in an organization that are in the position of working position, and he must keep on checking whether that is in a working position or any damages that has been happened. If there is a damage, he must go for the repair. And then comes a last one is inspector card clerk. Inspector means inspector. He is in these things a production and comparison their quality with the standard prescribed for them. So that means we will prescribe some standard and he must go and inspection whether the standard whatever we have set, whether it is same or is there any differentiation between them. So we will going to check that, and that will be the work of a inspector. And then comes workman. Workman is nothing but he will give the entire work to the workman and they are going to do that work. So under the factory manager there will be two main in charge, that is one is planning in charge and is a production in charge. In that two in charges there will be four specialists who are divided equally and given them a particular works, and that work will be finally implemented by the ordinary workers. So this is for this day, and we'll continue the other techniques in the next class.